The Ink and Paint Club podcast is intended for mature audiences. I know we're usually talking about kids' cartoons and stuff, but there's going to be naughty language. Anyway, listener discretion is advised.
Yeah. Lots and lots of trains. #1 full show.
Oh, God.
37 minutes, 54 seconds. It's like an official upload. Lots of videos for Kids Marshall Publishing.
Oh, my God.
It was uploaded a year ago, so this is actually fairly recent. Holy shit.
That's ridiculous.
And there's lots and lots of trains, too. And
well, yeah, they said they got 2 videos.
New best of lots and lots of trains. Oh boy.
Damn.
You got a fucking curated
when you
collection
just don't have
right
time for all of the trains, you just want the best ones.
Yeah, the best stuff. I don't want to see those jank ass trains. Give me the good stuff.
You're listening to the Ink and Paint Club podcast, your weekly home for animation reviews and discussions.
Hey everybody, welcome to another Ink and Paint Club podcast. My name is JD. I'm host A. Host B over there is Kyle.
Hey.
And host 3.
What comes next after B, JD?
You know what? It's been a long day. I cannot be required to remember sequential order of things.
The thing is, I didn't know that you were gonna say I'm host A. I thought you were just gonna say I'm host JD.
Like I'm host JD.
Like a caveman would or something.
English, I know it.
Me host JD.
Me host real good. Yes, this is the Ink and Paint Club podcast. We talk about children's cartoons and whatnot. And
hey, we talk about adult cartoons also.
Yeah, sometimes. But this week we are talking about the long-awaited Glitch Techs. Nickelodeon's like, is this their first like Netflix exclusive show?
I think so.
Probably.
That sounds right. Because I mean, the only other Netflix stuff that Nick had out so far were the Rocco and Zim specials, right?
Yeah, I guess it's true.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, this wasn't even originally set for Netflix. I don't think.
No, I think this was supposed to be on like Nickelodeon proper, and then there's been some shenaniganery behind the scenes with this, and
well, I think the big thing was that they had their heads changed. People in charge of Nickelodeon animation department changed.
Right.
And that's what caused a bit of problems with it.
Yeah, like a bunch of staff got laid off in the middle of I guess they had already done they got greenlit for like I read 40 episodes, and so they got through like half of that order before that happened. So there's been no confirmation if they're going to be the rest of those episodes, but there's at least this season, and there's going to be the other half of, or there's going to be technically season 2 of 10 episodes at some point later this year, I guess.
Yeah, because I was about to say there's technically it's 9 episodes are out right now, but the first episode is like an hour long, so it's 10 episodes. Essentially, yeah. But yeah, we're gonna be talking about Glitch Techs. It's finally out, everybody, and that was a show.
It was a show. There was games. The animation was very good.
Yeah,
that was the one thing I took away from that, because I hadn't actually looked anything up about Glitch Techs before I watched it. I'd seen a bunch of people talking about it, and it's like, but the thing was, there was only like the one trailer to go off of, and like maybe like a few seconds of contextual footage, really. So but yeah, I was just hearing how good it looked.
Glitch Techs is made by the same guy who did Fanboy and Chum Chum,
and by the co-creator of Greg the Bunny as well.
That I didn't know.
Yeah, that's Eric Robles did Fanboy and Chum Chum, and then Dan Milano did Greg the Bunny.
Huh.
And that was like their 2 claims to fame. So you bring them together, and this is what you get.
Yeah, a show full of gamers speak.
I bet y'all just love that.
Okay, so I will just say I got about 4 episodes into this show, and I literally did not know how I felt about it. Because on the one hand, yes, it's very well animated. There's a lot of like flashy action. I like the character designs and stuff. But on the other hand, the first couple of episodes like lean real heavy on the like, here's a bunch of video game terms thrown into casual conversation. And how a lot of animation, like Kyle, you kind of hit the nail on the head when we were talking about this the other day. It's real difficult to really talk about video games in really any kind of entertainment media, because you walk a thin line.
It comes off as people not knowing anything about video games, but the thing is, you watch this and it's very obvious that they do know with a lot of the references that they do and stuff like this, but it's also one of those things that, just like memes, it's going to get dated pretty quickly.
I don't know, because I feel like a lot of the references and stuff that they make in here are it's so stereotypically gamer, like from like the late 90s, early 2000s, that it's like the same type of jokes that you see online. People have still been making since then about gamers, and gamer talk and that type of shit. Like, so I don't know. I would say in some ways it is timeless, but like that doesn't make it good. But it's still like, I don't know that's going to become particularly dated. Like, it wouldn't be as dated as, say, if they'd made like Fortnite references in it or something. That's the thing. A lot of the humor in this isn't derived from like, straight up gamer memes or anything. It's just sort of like they have references and like homages and that sort of thing to games, but it's not anything like explicitly. Like, I think I heard like the name Metroid thrown around in there, and then like some other things, but other than that, no like explicit references to like.
Yeah, because I mean, honestly, unless you're gonna like pay out the ass for royalties, you kind of, a lot of the game references in here are very alluded to actual video games. Like, there's an entire episode in here that is basically them playing through Symphony of the Night, Castlevania, without it being Castlevania, except the Dracula looks like fucking Dimitri from Darkstalkers.
Yeah, but even down to like the bad translations too. Like, that was a fun little.
It was Dimitri and Morgan.
You can see
wearing the Morgan pants,
right? So Melanie and I were talking after we watched a couple of episodes, and I was telling her how, like, the game speak kind of gets on my nerves a little bit, because it's like no one really talks like that. And I don't know, I honestly, seriously, I have no idea why this bothers me so much. But I think it's like in the second episode or something, Miko and Five are talking, and she's like, said something to the effect of like, we're gonna make this day like an S rank flawless victory, and I'm like, yes, those are fighting game terms, good job. And it just seems so awkward. And Melanie kind of pointed out something that kind of makes sense, is like, the reason that maybe it sounds kind of weird that they talk like this is because a lot of this kind of gamer speak isn't actually like spoken aloud a lot of the time. A lot of this is like
text.
It's a lot of text stuff you're going to see in chat, on message boards and stuff that you see written out. So like, nobody actually says pwn or noob or any of this stuff out loud a lot. So it's, I don't
know. Well, the thing is, I think nowadays, disagree. Yeah, there's a lot of people that say like poggers in real life and that sort of thing.
I would say that's a very YouTuber thing. And they did touch on people, gamer streams and all that kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't know, man. People do say shit like that.
Like, I'm sure they do. I'm just like, in casual conversation, just the amount of like gamer slang that they throw into this, it almost feels like the creators just like looked up a bunch of gamer terms. I'm like, all right, we got a list of this stuff. How do we put this into dialogue to like really emphasize that these are like really big gamers? And just a lot of the times it comes off as kind of awkward.
I feel like there's two things that should be considered in regards to this, though. One, like just like the world of like the show, like gaming is kind of like a really big thing in this world, so it kind of makes sense that these characters themselves would be speaking this way. Like it's kind of like a weird sensationalized sort of like, like we're in a world where they grew like. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the embodiment of like this kind of like stereotypical gamer culture. And then the other thing is it's a kid's cartoon, dude. Like
that, I think that is like the creed of this show that I always have to step back and be like, anytime I talk about it, I have nitpicks of a show. It's like, I have to remember, I am not the target demographic for this show. Yeah. I am a nearing 30-year-old man. This is made for like 12-year-olds. So I'm sure there's like tons of kids who watch this show and like are probably very charmed by the weird gamer speak in this show. I, as a grown man, and have grown up with, cartoons trying to shoehorn in video game terminology, and most of the time not succeeding at it. It gets probably why it gets under my skin so much.
Well, the thing is that a lot of that, because we've seen shows where they've had episodes based around gaming and like it gets thrown around in there a lot, but this is a whole show based around
it. So it's all those episodes but stretched out into an entire season.
So it becomes kind of like distilled and like so I can see if this is a thing that kind of grates on people's nerves, that they would kind of get lost from that.
Right.
I don't know. It didn't really bother me that much because, like I said, when you take into consideration the target demographic and sort of the world of the show, like it's kind of makes sense. It's it's not really and like for kids too. Like I don't know. I can't speak to tons of kids specifically if that would like seem really dated to them too, because I don't know, because like even then like a lot of and they kind of touch on this a little bit too. There's like traditional games, but there's also like just like phone games and apps and stuff in this world. So I know a lot of kids nowadays are mostly into like the sort of tablets and apps, gaming sort of thing. So not really that much into console stuff.
Man, I mean, I'm gonna sound like old man JD here. It is baffling to me how much when I go out, I would just see so many kids, like almost every child has like an iPad or an iPhone or some kind of tablet-y device in their hand. And on the one hand, I'm sitting there like, damn, these kids need to get off their screens every now and again. Like, and it's more of a like parents need to engage them or something. And on the other hand, I'm saying, damn, this kid has a nicer phone than I do. But no, I definitely see where you're going. Like it like they kind of cover their bases in terms of like retro games to like like phone games and stuff. And it was kind of interesting trying to like see what their versions of things were, like what their, because obviously they can't use actual references to actual video games, but they're trying to make their own parallels or something.
Yeah, like they had a rabbit that was kind of dressed like Mega Man that ran really fast. So I guess that's kind of like Sonic or something.
Yeah, and I liked how it was weird because like when I saw the trailer for this, right before it came out, they like were showing their bird companion. I'm like, oh, that's cool. They have like a bird. Like I thought it was supposed to be one of like the ostriches from Joust.
It just reminded me of Kevin from Up
a little bit. But once they gave context to it and they showed the game the bird was from, it's like, oh, it's a chocobo.
Yeah.
It was a chocobo mixed with Kazooie, it seemed like.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. And I do like Allie. I thought I thought the big bird was funny.
Yeah.
Because this derpy ass bird.
You were telling me off the recording that you were starting to get annoyed by Miko.
Oh,
did you feel that way? I don't know. I was never. I kind of found. I always appreciate it when comedy shows like do have the female leads like not being the straight man, like that they're the actual ones engaging in the comedy.
It's not that I have a problem with their dynamic. Like I'm fully fine with Five being the straight man to Miko. that's perfectly fine. Like I did like their friendship and how they work together, and that's fine.
I especially appreciated that it was like just a friendship at least, like, and they didn't try to shoehorn in like any sort of romance thing into this cartoon, because it seems like a lot of kids cartoons nowadays are trying to do that, and it's nice to
and I'm really hoping that going forward they don't kind of dip into that territory, because honestly I just don't feel like that kind of plot line even fits into this show.
Yeah, because for the most part, this is like a Monster of the Week type show. There's no, it didn't seem like they kind of drop a little bit of a hint, like in the second episode, at the very end, that there might be like some sort of like overarching plot, like at some point, but we haven't seen anything like of it in this season yet. Anyway,
I want to get back to that in a minute, but yeah, I don't have any problem with Miko and Five's relationship and their friendship and whatnot, but a lot of like the cringy gamer speak stuff, a lot of it came from Miko, and I've never really been a fan of like the hyper. I'm hesitant to call her dumb.
This is the thing with that. You have a character that has like ADHD, just extremely hyper character, but then she has moments where she's like, "Hey guys, take me seriously now," and it doesn't really fit with her. You can't do that, or at least that's how I feel. You can't have someone who's always silly and doing stuff like that, and then gets angry that no one's taking her seriously.
I've just never been a fan of like her character trope, where she's just like this really overly hyper, overly confident, maybe a little dim-witted a little bit kind of character. And again, like I said, I think most of why her character kind of grated on me was because the majority of the forced gamer speak was coming from her. And that's obviously my own baggage, but I mean, I think like a lot of the character design in this is really good.
Oh yeah, no, this is just filled with great character design, even just like background characters, side characters.
Yeah,
you can tell they had a lot of fun designing the characters and stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I kind of wish we saw more of Five's grandma and grandpa, because like we only saw them really in that first episode.
Yeah.
And, like, it seemed like they focused a lot more on Miko's.
Yeah, you see Miko's family all the flipping time. Like there's two separate episodes that focus on her sisters.
Yeah, and then like Five got a thing where like he was reconnecting with an old friend, but like we didn't really see anything about his like family proper. I hope we get to see more of that, especially just I don't know. I liked the idea of and that was actually something really weird I noticed, is that I don't know what like time of the year this is supposed to be set in, but like I guess they have jobs, so I guess they're out of school. Or
yeah, I was wondering about that too, about because obviously they're teenagers, probably middle school age or like at least 16 or something.
Because like Five is working the food truck, but the thing is, like, Miko's still young enough, I guess, that she can get grounded by her parents and stuff, but she's working like a job.
Well, yeah, I don't know if they have like specific ages, but like I know kids that like from a young age and have like parent or have families with restaurants will work at their family's restaurant probably well before they legally should.
Well, yeah.
I mean, we've all seen Bob's Burgers. Those kids aren't old enough to be having jobs like that, but it's the family restaurants, they got to work it. I'm guessing they're probably about 14 because
it says right here, Five's is 13 and she's 14. Okay. Because there was also the post that the guy said, "Yeah, they're underage. Don't draw porn of them."
Like it's stopped anybody before. Not that I'm condoning it. I'm just saying I'm sure that there was porn made of these characters well before this show even came out.
So as far as how the animation goes, I noticed whenever Miko talked, her hair would always move when she talked, and I thought that was interesting as far as just like a little touch that they did with the animation to make it flow a lot better. Because that's something that they didn't have to do, but
yeah,
it's just kind of a neat touch.
They're just kind of like flexing that animation muscle, just saying like, "Hey, we can do it, so we're gonna."
I dug that.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, like, because I feel like when they get into the actiony stuff, like you can definitely tell they put a lot of effort into that and like really showing off like dynamic poses and a lot of like flashy effects and stuff, and that's really and it's really well done. And I've really enjoyed, like, over the last year or so, the people who worked on the show would occasionally just put up like short animatics of like some of the action sequences, and like that's kind of what got me interested to see this show. Is just like, wow, that I'm liking these character designs and I'm liking the action they're putting into it. So I mean, this could be a really cool show. But then when they're kind of just standing around talking, I can't tell if they're like rigged characters. Because they have a little bit, but they have a little more movement, like Kyle said, just like little bits thrown in that like I can't tell if they're rigged or if there's just like there is some limited animation in there. It's kind of hard to tell.
I feel like there probably is just for convenience sake, but if it is, it's like done so well that it makes it so like hard to tell.
Mm-hmm.
So, the benefit, that's, props to them for being able to get away with that.
Yeah. This is probably something that only really appeals to me. But I just really liked how they play, just like in the just general character sides, how they played with like, I really don't know how to explain this exactly, but like, line weight between different parts of the body, just kind of make some parts stand out. Like their general outline is maybe a little thicker than like their face line outlines. I don't know. It just kind of makes their like different parts of their designs pop out.
Sure.
Just kind of give it a little bit of depth, and I thought that was kind of cool.
So we haven't actually really talked about what the show really is about, have we?
Oh yeah. I mean, I assume people listening to this. Geez, my voice is cracked there. Jesus Christ, almost 30 years old, my voice is still cracking. Puberty's a real bitch, everybody.
He's a growing boy.
Yeah, but yeah, it's there's this. It's
Ghostbusters and Men in Black. There, I said it. It's Ghostbusters and Men in Black. That's what
honestly, it's not too far off.
That's what it is, and that's completely fine. It's just that is what it is.
Yeah, they're going around. Yeah, they bust video game ghosts, quote figures, and then they neuralize everybody. So, which I still, okay. So here's where I want to circle back about lingering plot things that I feel like came up once and were never addressed anymore in this, even in this short amount of episodes, where the episode where they had the inspection, at the end, the inspector is like, I'm guessing radioing to someone higher up in the company they all work for, and they're like, keep an eye on these guys because they might be useful to us. Which I'm already calling that Hinobi is like some kind of like sinister bullshit. But
it's just the thing. It's like, what kind of shitty video game company has glitches that so bad that it's so rampant that they need agents to
exactly
fix all this shit?
Actually, I didn't think about it from that angle.
And then another thing I really hope that they kind of address later on is why Miko couldn't be neuralized.
Yeah, that was something I definitely made note of.
Like, I got it the first time where it's like, when they tried to flash her, she kind of fell off the couch at the same time. So like, I could understand why that was why she couldn't be neuralized, because they kind of interrupted the process. But then when Mitch tries to do it again to her, like just straight to her face, it keeps erroring out, and I'm like, why?
Yeah,
I need explanations for why this is happening.
When they were doing that, it was he kept upping the power.
Yeah. And
they wouldn't let him go up to 10, so maybe that is one of the things. Maybe 10 would have got her.
Well, it's weird because it's like the lower levels work on literally everybody else. Like 5 got neuralized, and he was fine, but it's like no matter how much power he shot into her, it just kept saying that she can't be memory wiped. And I'm like, does she have like a weird brain function that doesn't allow her to be? Does she have elite gamer powers that keep her from being memory wiped?
Yeah, that was what I was gonna say. It's like it's very simple. She's just
also
a very epic gamer.
Also, I don't know if anyone else noticed that Miko's house number is Lee.
I noticed that right off the bat.
I didn't.
I was saying maybe it's one of those things where it's been so long since she should have been neuralized that it probably needs more and more power to do it. Who knows?
Maybe, I don't know.
She knows like too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to think. You got to think because everyone in this town. Because I think at least this particular branch are just covering this one town. So you got to imagine how many times each individual citizen has been like neuralized at some point.
I mean, they've done like just whole crowds of people and city blocks of people. So it's like, yeah, who knows how many times. And I feel like they're going into people's homes like every day. So it's like, you know, obviously they got to neuralize those people, and people got to be getting brain damage.
Because I don't really know what the company's all about too, because it's a video game company, but now they're also selling shoes and stuff.
I kind of took it as they're kind of like an all around company, where tech company.
I was kind of assuming the shoes had like some sort of tech in them that we didn't see. Like I was waiting for them to show that off, but I guess that wasn't a thing, or wasn't important enough to go into. I kind of got the idea. It was just they kind of wanted to do their own like, oh, there's a new iPhone coming out, and I didn't get one, so how am I going to get one? Like, and I guess it made the most sense to do shoes instead of like a new game console. I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean they make the iPhone joke where it's like. He's like, oh, well, I finally saved up enough points to get the new the shoes, and they put up a poster for the next one already to pre-order. So it's just like every 5 seconds a new iPhone edition comes out. So
it feels like the company's a straight play on Nintendo, because even the font seems like it's the Nintendo font.
Yeah, and then when they're going through like the old game catalog, like. Game boxes look like Super Nintendo boxes. So, you know, obviously there's a lot of allusions to Nintendo. I kind of like thought that the actual game console kind of reminded me like an Xbox or something. So I think it's taking bits and pieces of not just the game companies, but tech companies in general. And I just kind of took Kenobi as just kind of be this general. Probably started out as a game company because obviously they show a lot of their like older, probably like NES era games, but kind of moved into like more areas of like, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they have their own version of like the iPhone or something that people have. And
sure.
The weird thing, the first episode they have that whole video game competition,
which I found it. I did think it was weird. They just have this entire fucking esports arena in the back of a store.
Yeah. I just found it weird that so they have this big video game competition that has all the best players, and then they're going to allow, you know, their own people to be in this competition too. I found that a little weird, but on top of that, I kind of felt like, is this going to be like their recruitment? Is that how this is going to be? Maybe they need new people, so they're going to get the best people in this. And then it didn't end up being that way. It was just kind of weird. I don't know.
Yeah, I had that same thought too, and they kind of just didn't go through with that thread at all, which I guess is fine, because I think that was the most, that would have been the expected thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something I was also kind of confused about that whole tournament thing is that I don't know, maybe it was something I missed, but I was kind of under the assumption that Miko lived somewhere else in the world, because they're like, well, Five's going to go to the tournament in person, but they're like, oh, well, we're gonna have people also remote into this tournament because I don't know, for some reason they can't get to it. But it's like they show like Miko has to go meet Five in real life, and it's like, okay, well, they clearly both live in the same town, so why did Miko have to remote in? instead of going to the actual tournament like everybody else.
They just needed some way to excuse her not being wiped that first time, I guess.
Yeah.
But that is a little silly. You think, yeah, she would have been there in person if she lived so damn close.
Yeah. I mean, I guess they kind of explain it away because they're like her parents wouldn't take her, but like I think she had already like stated that she was going to like be playing from home and stuff. So
yeah,
I don't know. It's weird. But yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot to like about this show. Like I said, it's there's a lot of interesting kind of references to like games we're familiar with and tropes we're familiar with.
All the different types of like monsters in this are actually really cool. Like beyond the actual references and homages they're making, just they have variety in the glitches that they fight. Like the ones that directly inhabit like the game characters, and ones that kind of cloak an entire environment to turn it into like a like a Castlevania, like we said, or ones that possess people, that sort of thing. So it is cool that they aren't just kind of dealing with one type like for the whole show.
They definitely show a lot of variety for what these like game monsters can do. So that kind of kept every episode like interesting because it's like they're not relying on the same trick every time. So the variety was really nice. Character designs are really well. I think they're like all the character designs are really great. Characters themselves are fine, even though the gamers speech kind of got on my nerves after a while, and Miko's not my most favorite character. But I will commend the show for making me hate Mitch just as much as the characters hate him.
Right.
I want to punch that kid in the face. So
I had a feeling he was going to have like a larger villainous role, just from like.
I did too.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if maybe he will later on, but just as it is right now, he does fit as like a good sort of rival, like a foil to their sort of antics and stuff.
He's like there's a rival, and then just being a straight up asshole.
He's a Gary Oak.
Yeah.
He is Gary Oak, and I hate Gary Oak. He's a dick.
It was like he was prominently featured in the first episode, and it seemed like he was going to be one of the main antagonists. And then they kind of forgot about him a bit. He was like sweeping in the background in a couple episodes and doing other things. And then like towards the end, it's like, oh yeah, I'm a thing too again.
Yeah, he kind of shows up intermittently throughout the season, just like here and there, and like
and I think this might be a side effect of it, because I think originally the first season of the show was meant to be this season and what Netflix will be billing as season 2, presumably. Mm-hmm. So I think, because I mean the episode that they leave off on is not any sort of like cliffhanger or anything. It's just sort of like an episode.
That's what I was going to bring up too, is that it was a very weak season finale.
Yeah,
so it seems like there's more.
Yeah, clearly not meant to be a season finale. It's just because Netflix loves to split up their release stuff. So
it definitely feels like they ended like halfway through a season.
Although I did want to bring up one specific thing about the episode they ended on, was that it did have my favorite joke of the show, was when Miko's little sister like activates her belt, and it's like she's in the like a mech thing, and like she does the reference to aliens, so she's like, "Get away from them, you glitch!" Like,
I gotta say, I kind of groaned a little at that reference.
Yeah,
like,
I loved it. I loved it so much.
I just kind of groaned a little bit when children's cartoons try to make references that originally have swears in them and try to find a way around it.
But JD, you don't get it. It was glitch instead of bitch.
I get it. I got it.
Letters.
I know the line, man. It's just like, all right,
on this fella.
Yeah,
it's too high the class humor for this peon.
Clearly.
So did her two sisters end up getting memory wiped? I don't remember.
I don't think so.
Well, because her little sister that's into karate doesn't, because she knows, and she's like blackmailing Miko to like help her learn karate. And I'm pretty sure, unless they did it off screen, they didn't show her older sister being wiped after that whole thing with the phone game. So I'm kind of under the assumption that both of her sisters are aware of what goes on.
That's the weird thing, because I remember the episode with the kids in the park or whatever, where they're trying to get the bird, and Yeah, they were trying to get the bird because it had our gauntlet. I want to say those kids ran away if they didn't memory wipe them.
Yeah.
I think they made some sort of reference, like we have like a whole city block of people to memory wipe, like near the end of that episode. So
I will say probably the memory wipe joke that made me chuckle the most was when 5 and that one other guy are doing the gem quest and they go to the pet store. And the little girl like stomps the turtle to get the gem out and to just like, should we mind wipe her? It's like, that was the worst that could happen.
She like lines up the turtles and
she's
about to hop on them in a slow motions, and like the parents like, no, like.
I just like their casualness. We're like, it's fine. She's 6. What is she gonna do? Casually murder a couple animals. That's probably what.
That'll be fine.
She doesn't know what she's doing.
You can't murder an animal. You kill it.
Murder.
Don't kill them either.
Murder is just killing with intent. So says the law.
The definition says human being.
Well, your definition's weak. Weak. It's got the sauce is weak. Pones. I don't know.
Oh my god! Shut up.
I'm just gonna stop here before I dig this hole any deeper.
Well, okay. So, how are we feeling though? By the end of this show, will you check out the season 2 when it comes out? Because I feel like I will. I think I enjoyed it enough.
I liked it. Yeah, I liked it because I don't know. With action cartoons, people haven't been doing it in a while. It's been quite a long time since we had even a Monster of a Week type show, and even throwing comedy in it and stuff. It's very because I want to say Ninja Turtles is the other Nickelodeon show that's also comedy and action.
And that's on its way out, unfortunately.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Nickelodeon. I'm not sure if they officially canceled it, but I think that there's news out that it's getting canceled. But that's fucking why there's not that many action cartoons out. Because there's always the argument they make that like it's not selling enough toys, so we can't have it on air. And it's like, well, you don't like have merch out for like these shows anyway. To like, it's like the same thing that happened with freaking like Megas XLR and Motor City and just any of these other like action cartoons. Like they just don't thrive because the networks don't believe in them.
I want to say maybe around the time of Adventure Time and stuff, a lot of cartoons now are strictly comedy based.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of how the industry is going. But what I wanted to say is, you have a show like this. It has beautiful art direction. The just action's really great. All this kind of stuff. Writing it's middling. It's okay, and it can be not so great as well. But then you look at something like, say, the Thundercats Roar, and that's one of those things where it could have been something like this, but they strictly went mostly comedy with action. Mm-hmm. That's where it comes off as something like that is more the Teen Titans Go.
Actually, that's funny that you bring up. It's funny that you bring up Thundercats, because the last version of Thundercats to come out before Roar was that like really actiony, like story based thing, and like it didn't survive.
Well, it was the same with He-Man. Probably same time they did the He-Man cartoon, and I want to say that was more a love note to the original, maybe 80s fans. So there wasn't much of a demographic there. Because honestly, when that came out, I wasn't interested. I wouldn't have watched it. Mm. But, I mean, at the same time, when you have something like Thundercats Roar, I probably wouldn't have been interested in it either.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird, but it's good. It's kind of like how video games, where we've had a dry spell of platformers, and now they're kind of coming back. Maybe something like this show will start bringing back these action cartoons. That would be nice to see.
Right. Well, I mean, so like everything comes in waves.
I kind of want to say that Netflix themselves have actually been kind of good about that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because we've had like Voltron and She-Ra. Kipo has some action elements in it. So honestly, I think Netflix has been really good about bringing back these like action shows, maybe a little bit of comedy in there. So I definitely think Glitch Techs is actually a better fit for Netflix than it would be on just like base Nickelodeon, because I feel like because Netflix is so good about like promoting and keeping these action shows going and putting them in front of an audience that is probably more receptive to it, I could see that Glitch Techs will have some better legs than it would on, like network television.
Yeah, absolutely. Netflix was the best thing that happened to the show.
Yeah, so like whatever kind of problems it had behind the scenes about whether it was going to be on Nickelodeon proper or it's going to be on streaming, I definitely think they kind of get the better end of the deal. It's like I think Netflix is a better home for it. I think it'll have a better chance to thrive there. But to answer your question from earlier, Matt, I think I am interested enough to like check out if they put another season of this out. Because as much as the dialogue, like Kyle said, it's okay. I did think it got better as it went along. I kind of noticed in the last couple of episodes, like the gamer speak that gets on my nerves so much kind of was toned down a bit, which I appreciated.
I would definitely say that like the trade-off too, just because it's such a great looking show that I think you can excuse some of the writing of some spots.
And that's kind of where I'm at, where it's like, yes, there are some bits that grate on my nerves, but at the same time, just the world they're building here, the character designs, the very well choreographed action sequences. I'm interested to see what they do with this. And like Kyle said, there's not enough action cartoons out there, and I'm hoping that this kind of adds to Netflix's repertoire of having these kids action shows, and maybe really get some legs here, and goes on for a while.
Leads to a new renaissance.
Yeah, because I would just like to see what more they've got, what more they could do with this world, because I think they have a good world set up here. Like you said, it's a mixture of Men in Black and Ghostbusters. So, but it's all video game themed. So I mean,
how could you lose?
Exactly. So, is there anything else you guys want to say before we wrap up?
If Netflix is looking for more action stuff, boy, do I have something for them.
We just got to find the right person to get you in front of, Kyle. And that's Netflix, half the battle right there.
Pick up Donut Assault. Right here.
Netflix, call us. We got ideas for you.
Netflix.
And it's Netflix has their own animation department now, so I mean, Jorge, hook us up, man.
He's doing a show right by my house. If you didn't
see,
he's got a toy coming out.
You mean like the gallery show? Yeah. That's awesome.
Well, he's got a toy coming out, and I guess he's going to be doing a signing.
Red.
Neat.
That'd be cool to see.
That would be cool. Well, all right, guys, there you go. That's our thoughts on Glitch Tech Season 1. Let us know in the comments what you thought about it, and what you're looking forward to in a Season 2, whenever that's supposed to come out. But thank you, two, for being here and talking gamer pwn noobs. I don't fucking know, I'm tired. And thank you everyone out there for putting up with us. So thanks all for listening, and we'll catch you next week.
See you next week.
Not gonna say goodbye to the people, Kyle?
Nope. They don't deserve it from me.
Thanks for listening to the Ink and Paint Club podcast. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter to keep up with the show. Join our Discord to chat with us, and subscribe to our Patreon for some cool bonuses. Links are in the description. We'll see you next time.